Hey everybody, Brian Von Vier here, back at it again with another set of D&D stories. Today we're going to dive into the darker side of D&D by talking about the most evil in-game actions in Dungeons & Dragons that you've ever done, Part 1. In my case, I made a blue dragonborn monk ranger named Avello. He was the most charming motherfucker you would ever meet, and yet he could kick your ass in the blink of an eye. We were playing in my friend's homebrew one-shot that took about 2 weeks to complete. Long story short, an evil troll queen was demanding money from her subjects or else she would eat their stolen children. At the time, there were just 2 of us, and a third person was joining. However, the second person was unable to come anymore, so it was just me and the new third. Our DM said he would use the second player's character as a DM PC. I decided, well, I would take a different route. The 2 of us were in a trap room, and were trying to figure out how to escape, until we tried the paintings. After I failed to open the painting, the DMPC said, "Ha! Incompetence will get you nowhere. Allow me," in a snobby voice. My character had enough of his shit. Right then and there, a trap opened up, shooting poison darts down upon us. My character dodged, while his got hit. He got knocked out. I heard voices coming, so I did the only thing sensible. I murdered him, right then and there. Stabbed him so many times he looked like a pincushion. Now the worst part is that I rolled to deceive the new party member that I didn't kill him. Oh, I got a nat 20. She never found out. Not only that, but the same character decided instead of killing all of the queen's subjects and guards, instead he would enlist them into his own army on his conquest to take over the land. He got 2 trolls to join him, and we said at the end of the campaign I took over the rest of the army as well. Lastly, the kids we saved, I asked the DM when we brought them back to their families if I could make a persuasion check to have the kids become soldiers for the Avello allegiance. I failed. So screw it, I left them. We were all about to leave to take over a new castle when I found 6 stowaways among us. It was the kids. I told them to stay here as I went back to the village, which I promptly burned to the ground, taking more kids with me who actually wanted to join. By the end, I had 10 children who I would raise into mighty warriors, an army of roughly 100 trolls, and the third party member's character as my right-hand woman. Now, I'm making a campaign where this character is the big bad evil guy. I was playing in a high-level one-shot campaign just for fun. I decided to roll up a divination wizard. We were fighting one of the big bads for the session. I cast True Polymorph and used one of my many portents to make him fail the save. And I turned him into a baby, as in an actual baby human. I was feeling pretty vicious at this point, so I decided to tie some rope around the baby's neck. Oh God, we're gonna get on a list for this one. I used another portent die to make sure it wouldn't come loose. At this point, I asked the DM, "How many hit points does a baby have?" After seeing their horrified and somewhat confused faces, I used my new baby flail to beat the big bad evil guy into trees and rocks until he reverted out of polymorph. And since the rope tied around his neck would not come loose when he changed back, he ended up being strangled to death. I'm not sure if this falls under murder or abortion at this point, but there are easier ways to get this done and cleaner ways, my guy. So, I need to give a bit of a backstory. I was DMing a homebrew campaign which takes place in the homebrew world of Adramath. At this point in the campaign, the level 3 party consisted of 1. Quinn, the human fighter, 2. Shiri, a high elf bard, 3. Griff, the tiefling warlock, 4. Micah, a halfling druid, and 5. Gorlin, a half-orc wizard. You don't see those too terribly often. Now, it is important to know that Griff saved Micah after Micah's druid tribe was attacked by shadowy figures in robes. So Griff and Micah are best buddies. Getting back to the story, the 5 of them were in the city of Whitecliff, trying to take down the Dime Lions, the thieves guild running the town. Their investigation led them to the Swan and Stag, a high-end tavern that held the Dime Lions' secret gambling and prostitution rings. They learned that there was a poker tournament in a few nights and that someone from Sherry's past, a man named Brandon Mosswood, was going to be there. Now, apparently Brandon had some connection to the Dime Lions. So the party made a brilliant plan and set out to execute it. Griff decided to pose as a fellow crime figure and went in to speak with the two tieflings who run the joint, Samazia and Jezbeth. He met with Samazia and offered to get into business with them, offering to have his own girl, Sherry, even join the musical entertainment as a singer. With some tense RP and lucky dice rolls, Griff managed to convince Samazia to let Sherry audition. As the party's investigation into the gang goes on for a few sessions and the party gets ambushed in the tavern by thugs wearing dark robes and lion masks, Griff's player decided that my DM style wasn't a good fit for him and left. So I needed to come up with a way to have Griff leave the game. Then I came up with an evil way. At this point, Griff was staying at the Swan and Stag to keep up appearances as well as keep an eye on the gang. The rest of the party was staying at another tavern. Once they woke up, they went to the Swan and Stag to meet up with Griff. As they approached, they saw a crowd gathered outside. As they got closer, they saw a broken window. They pushed through the crowd and saw city guards looking over a dead body. As the guard moved out of the way, they saw their friend, Griff, lying dead. A dagger was in his chest, piercing a lion mask. On top was a small note that simply said, "Spy." Now that's a really good little crime documentary in the making. I was tasked with planning a stealth rescue mission to save a girl from an immortal vampire king's castle before she is used as a sacrifice for his immortality ritual. Now, my dragonborn rogue has the highest stealth out of the entire party when factoring in expertise. And he had a few incredible stealth-based items, such as a Cloak of Shadows, which allows the wearer to dive into shadows and travel through them. I had been spending a lot of time making this plan. At least 3 IRL weeks were spent planning. During the session before we reached the castle, we finished an encounter and got a teleportation ring. My plan had just become foolproof. I was going to sneak into the castle using my Cloak of Shadows to quickly traverse the shadows until I found the girl. Upon finding her, I would wait until she is alone or kill any guards who are with her, give her the ring so she can teleport to our wagon, then I'd shadow travel to the entrance of the castle and leave. So, next session comes around and I swear, I can feel my DM smiling evilly through the computer. We get to the castle only to be reminded then and there that we had an invitation from the Vampire King to join him for a feast celebrating our recent victory as Blood Ball champions. Blood Ball is a homebrewed sport similar to Quidditch, but with no brooms and lots more blood. That sounds really fun. So I thought, okay, this makes the plan slightly easier, no problem. I'm already hiding in one of my party members' shadows. Before I can begin my plan, however, I was called into work. I told everyone that my character would begin his search, and sadly left for work. At work, I got a text from one of my buddies. Turns out that a former NPC member of the party had infiltrated the vampire's castle and was assisting us. Then I was told that the girl we needed to rescue was now with the party. My character was still searching the entire castle for her. Long story short, I spent 3 weeks planning a well-thought-out rescue mission only for my DM to tell me, "Fuck your plan," in the most roundabout way possible. My DM is one evil jackass. Also, it's kind of sucky that you actually got called into work after a 3-week plan. You think that you'd be able to find a way to make that time, that specific moment, a little bit more free. But, hey, you had a great plan, a great idea, and maybe you'll be able to use the execution again one day or inspire someone else. I'm playing a neutral evil Githzeri artificer named Sralian at the moment. He has a prosthetic arm with a homebrewed evil god's consciousness trapped inside of it. He must roll wisdom saves every long rest to resist the attempts of the god to take control of his body. Another player in our group is playing as a teenaged tiefling wizard whose mother had left her at a young age, and she wishes so badly to find her mother. She's naive and constantly annoys my character to high hell. We had just cleared out an orc encampment and decided to take a rest. It was snowing as we rested that night, and she decided to make 2 snowmen depicting her and her mother. As we all began to head out next morning, my character knocked down the snowman of her mother. Even the evil god in his head told him that was a dick move. And this narrator says that was a pretty douche move. An ex-player of mine had a turtle monk. That's always a cool one. On our second session, they did some fighting in a goblin camp. Afterwards, they looked for some loot and some other things, during which they found a scared goblin child trying to hide from the intruders. The turtle was alone when he found the boy, and he decided to break the limbs off the child like breaking the claws off of a lobster and eat them one by one. When the child passed out from the pain as the 3rd limb was coming off, he decided to not waste fresh meat and eat the child while he was still half alive. The characters weren't there, but the players obviously were in voice chat. The session went on for a while after that. Immediately after I said, and that's the session, and ended session, people just piled on him about the goblin child, how needlessly evil the act was. He had, in my opinion, the worst excuse, which is, my character grew up in an environment where food wasn't plenty, so he ate whatever he could find. That's what my character would do, as if the character wrote itself. That and many other things led him to not play that character anymore. The kicker, the character was listed lawful good on his character sheet. So he was just lawful stupid at this point. He's a lawful jack-off. Got it. Should have kicked him out of the party and told him, hey, maybe you need to go see some sort of a psychiatrist for this, I think. Newish player, so might not go as hardcore as others, but I am playing a lawful good dwarf champion. That's brilliant, I know. And I homebrew a battle axe with the help of the DM that can hold up to 3 rounds of any liquid I pour into a pre-made 0.01 liter containers, of which I have 5 of. This dwarf also happens to have a knack for collecting poison from various creatures, currently a mixture of poison from a giant spider, a poisonous mushroom, and a giant scorpion. That my DM ruled an amount of 1 container would do 2d12 damage upon hit, with a DC of 12 for half damage. Haven't really found a way to go crazy with it, but I do have a decent charisma score, 13, and proficiency in intimidation, so options are given. That's a good idea, using poison to kind of torture people for your own little intimidation tactics. Like, you better tell us what you know, or I might just drip a little bit of this into a wound. Alright, for context, my drow sorceress, DS, is of noble blood. She's a princess and nobody knew. The rest of the party consisted of a dragonborn paladin, DP, an elf ranger, ER, and the half-orc cleric, HOC. So we were walking into the big bad evil guy's lair as we were invited to a party there. We get in and see our tables filled with food, a woman sitting in a chair, and guards, well, guards everywhere. We go to find our seats and note that this room is filled to capacity with humanoids and a seemingly endless supply of food. I decided to sneak off and scout. I would like to roll to sneak away. Okay, you have to roll a 15 or more. Well, the drow sorceress rolls a 16. You get up and are almost at the door when a guard stops you. I pick the fucker up and toss him through the door without making noise. She rolls a nat 20. I ended up causing a massive fight. It turns out that tossing a guard into a room full of fat people being butchered is a very effective way to start a full-on bloodbath. People are getting killed, set on fire, impaled. Hell, at this point, my character has a higher body count than the actual cannibal big bad evil guy. Long story short, my character killed every single guard who got too close, while the party was beating the big bad evil guy to death with chairs like we were in a Waffle House at 2 a.m. Oh, the beauty of it is the recent Waffle House meme. It's so good. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA back at it again, checking in after the vid. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and of course, tell us in the comments below one of the most evil in-game actions that you've either done or seen in D&D. or Pathfinder or whatever GURPS or TTRPG that you really love. That said, please stay safe, stay happy out there, and realize, very simply, that you are worth it. Yes, your battery may be dry, and yeah, you may not have any spoons left, but they will recharge and you will replenish them. Take your time every single day. The world goes forward no matter how cruel, how evil, and how burned out you ever feel. We love you all. Be safe, be happy, and I'll see you next time.